I'd like to welcome everybody to HBCU Coaches Corner. I am the co-host, Rocky Miller, along with my trusty sidekick, the Rattler himself, the Bishop, the Detective, and the Rattler, none other than Stephen Campbell. Thank you for joining me, Steve. Coach had a conflict, but we're committed to doing this show tonight, so we're going to carry on without him. Hopefully he is able to come on with us and carry out this conversation hopefully soon, because we got a few things we want to cover. We definitely want to talk about Shedeur. There's a lot of other conversations going on about what programs are blue bloods or what programs are first tier, second tier. Started a lot of dialogue, but one thing, Steve, before we get started, let me ask you, Steve, how you doing, brother?
Man, listen, I'm doing great. We are less than, what is this? Well, probably, I guess we play on the 6th. Is that right? No, we're not the 6th, the 29th, 30th of this month. Bottom line is we're close.
SWAC MEAC Challenge is on the 23rd, Steve.
23rd.
So we're less than 20 days out, man.
I will be there to see what Perry's Southern Jaguars are going to do. And Johnnie Thornton and him, we're not worried that we're blue blood Eagles, gave me that call. So, man, I'm excited, man. I am super, super excited, man, because, hey, man, this is our time, man. This is our time. This is what brings us all together. And, man, this is a new era. Like I say, Deion is over to Colorado. So now all of y'all primates, y'all here. Y'all still here. So, man, that is great, man. So, listen, man, like I said, we got our folks walking in, like I say, Jay and Tony Matthews and Willa Keener, Stuttering Newt, always got their sign up. So, man, listen, we here, man. So, we appreciate y'all being here, man. We want y'all to enjoy the conversation, and we want you guys to be a part of the conversation. Because the one thing I will say about HBCU folks, they got an opinion about Shedeur. I tell you that right now. And they got an opinion about who's a blue blood.
The crazy thing is, as I've been tracking this Shedeur story, since he was drafted, it almost has seemed like the HBCU people are really just observing, letting the Colorado and the Browns fans kind of hash these things out. And that surprised me kind of, Steve. The HBCU fans has been observing. They've been, part of the, I guess, group of people that's been tracking, because I see the names on the streams. I recognize the people on the streams, but they really haven't had a lot to say. And I just ask you, Steve, is Shedeur considered an HBCU quarterback?
Well, absolutely. But I'm going to tell you what I think is more so. I think everybody in the HBCU space has seen this playbook before. Being disrespected, not showing the grace, not giving the chance, but knowing that we just got to put our head down and just keep making a day. So I think for us, we've seen this playbook. For people in the Power Fives, they come with a certain level of arrogance, and this is where it should be. But every one of our players that have come from where we're at, they know they had to work hard. So for us, we see a lot of Shedeur in the things we do in our everyday life, of how we have to battle to be great. So I think for us, we just kind of sit back. Now, trust me, we're going to make some noise when we see something wrong. But like I've always told people, it's up to this, man. He going to be fine. Because when them preseason games play and Dylan Gabriel is throwing balls in the back of his head and Shedeur is dropping dimes, you ain't going to be able to hide it. And I'm going to keep saying this. Money talks. And they not crazy. There's a reason why he's starting that game, too. I don't, even if all those quarterbacks realized he was going to start that game.
It's funny to me that with the limited playing time, with the limited first team snaps he's received, he's received the least amount of reps in the entire fall camp. Yet on Friday, he's named the starter of the preseason game. And I have to ask this, Steve, with knowing that situation, how did the Browns, I really would like to sit down and talk to Coach Stefanski along with the GM and see how did they come to this decision to start Shedeur on the very first game of the preseason when it seemed like that's not what they were preparing to do according to how the practices were going.
Well, see, I never, and I think Coach Stefanski, he said this, he said, you guys are reading it too much, who's first team, second team, third. He actually said that from the very get-go. And I think Coach Stefanski, out of everybody, has played this the correct way. He's never said anything negative. He said this is what guys are going to do. He said don't look too much into it. And I'm gonna say this again. For my conspiracy theory, folks, you doggone right they want Shedeur to play and start, because guess what? That preseason game is gonna get record ratings. I thought the game was at Cleveland, but it's at the Panthers. So no matter what, think about all those people, because hey, Jack State got a big crew of folks up there in Charlotte. They're gonna be in the house. You're gonna have people that's gonna call them all over that know Shedeur. So they're gonna pack that place. So I think honestly, Coach Stefanski has been the one that say, hey, we're just letting it play out.
You know, Steve, being somebody that has been part of negotiations and player acquisitions and things of that nature, there's often been said that football is political. And I think when they say football is political, NFL is political, what they stay short of saying is that it's rigged. You understand what I mean? They don't. So in your estimation, what was the entire conversation around who's getting reps, who's not getting reps, who's playing? What were the people in Cleveland so upset or confused about? Because it became a whole thing the last 2 weeks about quarterback tracking reps, tracking completion. I've never seen anything like this in my entire time in football. And so I guess, Steve, is there some type of built-in mistrust by the fan base in Cleveland, or is it football as a whole that has some type of concern that the fix may be in?
Well, here's the thing. You said something interesting, but this is, again, through the lens. Now, if you watch the First Takes, the Get Ups, the FS1s, and all those different shows, you know what the white guy will say? Football's the ultimate meritocracy. The best player is going to play. Now, I've heard that. I've heard that way more than what you said, that the best player is going to play. So if I trust D. White Man, which I do not, but take him at this is going to prove to be true. The best player is going to play. And I think what has happened is when you're looking at Cleveland, and people got to understand, and Rocky, you and I are old enough to remember this, going back to when the Steelers were the power in that division, and they had Brian Sipe and those guys, you know what I mean, and stuff, the old Cleveland Browns and stuff like that. Cleveland has always hurt to have a quarterback. And when you see a guy that is that well known, Shedeur Sanders, you see what happened to Deshaun Watson, and you say, hey, this could be our guy. This is a guy we all can rally around. The fans clearly are buying into it. They're buying his jerseys. So you're saying, well, wait a minute. You're looking at a Dylan Gabriel. You know, you can say what you want to say about him. People believe that Shedeur is better than him. Kenny Pickett has already shown that, as they say, this is his third team he's going to be on. So that kind of lets you know what people think about him. And Joe Flacco's damn near 50. So, you know, so there you go. Lesteder Newton knows about that Bernie Kosar. Hey, man, those 2 times that they should have beat Denver and they didn't. Exactly. Going all the way back to that's almost literally when they had hope. So, again, when you're looking at this, I think what a lot of fans is just the excitement of Shedeur. And any little slight that they see is going to be blown up. So, I think a lot of us, which again, how many of us, I follow all the Cleveland Brown media. I'm talking about the real media, not the because YouTube people, I'm sorry. No disrespect to YouTube people, but they all have an agenda. They want clicks. But the Mary Kay Abbott's and people like that write for the Cleveland Plain Dealer, that watch that team, they've been pretty honest down the middle. They say, hey, we see this kid making the team, but we'll see what happens. So I think for a lot of people, and especially for the fans of Cleveland, everybody wants hope. And Shedeur is one of those guys, no matter what anybody says, Shedeur is the type of guy that people like. And people, again, and remember, people have known this kid since he was a baby, basically. So I think a lot of people forget that a lot of people have been invested in Shedeur since he's been a little child. So to see him grow up in front of us, he's like our son.
Steve, you said something that I want to push back on. You said the media, I'll put it like this, the corporate media, local corporate media, because I think there's the national corporate media and there's the local corporate media. The local corporate media, I'll disagree with you, Steve. I think they were trying to hold the line, keep the heat down for the organization itself. From going back to the draft to why they drafted the Shedeur in the fifth round, the local media was trying to keep the temperature down all the way across, right? They they were parroting, for the lack of a better word, exactly what the organization was saying, right? But if you notice, if you've been tracking, Steve, about the last 2 weeks to 10 days, the corporate local media is questioning a lot of the decisions that the Browns are being making as far as how they're dividing up reps. They weren't doing that at first.
Well, wait, but you gotta stand. But wait a minute. But I think people forget. Man, we only been in camp 3 weeks?
Yeah, three.
It's only been 3 weeks. So that's what I'm saying. You gotta say. So listen to what you said. Let's use your timeline. People were crying about reps the very first week. You can't delineate anything for week 1. We went in week 2. Now we're in week 3. It's only been 3 weeks. So I think to your point, yeah, they were probably going to say, "Hey, let's just let this train ride down the track," because of the first week. You have people losing their mind after the first week. He did this, he did that. And Stefanski's like, "Hey, bro, it's only the first week." And I'll tell you this, and anybody, again, Cowboy fans, go look at the first week. Where do you think Dak Prescott was on a depth chart the first week? Tony Romo gets hurt all of a sudden. Where do you think Russell Wilson was on the depth chart? I could go on and on about players at the first week. Again, I could tell about, like I say, Terrence Edwards. We represent Terrence Edwards. He was low on the depth chart, on the wide receiver depth chart. They had Roddy White, Brian Finner, all these guys. He worked his way up. It takes time. And again, one thing about the NFL, you know what happened? People get hurt. You start seeing things. Opportunities happen. And this is exactly what you're seeing. You're seeing the opportunity. So this is a great thing for Shedeur. The opportunities, no matter how the opportunity is there, he get on that field and ball. And I think a lot of people have said, to the point, which I like too, it doesn't matter if he doesn't make clears. He balls in that preseason game. Guess what? Somebody will ask for him. Somebody will trade for him.
Well, I think this is the product, and the guy I feel the worst about in this situation, Steve, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I have a considerable amount of sympathy for Dylan Gabriel in this situation, because this is generally not the situation that the third round, a quarterback drafted in the third round comes in. One, a third round quarterback who comes in is usually not projected to be the franchise quarterback or the franchise quarterback right away, let alone be in a quarterback competition with 2 established guys, NFL guys. If you draft a guy in the third round, that means you thought he was a pretty good quarterback. However, he wasn't good enough to take in the first round. You understand? He wasn't good enough to take in the second round. So third wing quarterbacks, correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, usually project as backups.
Yeah.
Or in some cases, a third round quarterback. There's, in the history of the NFL, there's very few guys like Russell Wilson who was drafted in the third round and then ended up starting game 1 of the same year he was drafted. There's not many guys in the history of the NFL to end up like that. But somehow, and I think this is the reason, because Shedeur was drafted behind him, he was all of a sudden thrust into a situation where he had to prove himself, whereas other guys who drafted as third-round quarterbacks end up not having to prove himself. I ask you, why as a third-round quarterback, he's put in a situation where he almost is forced to prove himself in this very small window that he's an NFL quarterback, when most guys who are quarterbacks who drafted in the third round get at least a whole season to kind of develop and progress?
Well, let's think about this. And I'm being facetious, but I'm almost being serious. Shedeur Sanders might be the most famous 5th round draft pick ever in the history of 5th round draft picks.
The only guy I would say, Bo Jackson, is the only guy that I would compare to that.
Well, Bo, I don't consider Bo a 5th round draft. He told Tampa he wasn't going. He was going to be the first pick in that draft. And he said, "I'm not coming. I'm going to play baseball because I want to play for y'all." So Bo did not drop because of talent. Bo dropped because I'm not coming. So the Raiders went ahead and drafted him. So I don't consider that the same. I'm talking about somebody that said, we looked at it, we evaluated it, he's a 5th round pick. Shedeur Sanders is the most known 5th round pick ever. So I think you don't have that. And I think this was part of a little bit, and I will say this, because I saw something, and this is where, you remember one of the outside noise that people said, well, if you draft Shedeur, it's going to come with a lot of noise, right? Well, I actually saw that bubble up just a little bit, because if you remember, and I think I sent this to you guys, you remember there was a quote by the owner, right? Well, what does his big brother do? Bucky makes this video that was really inflammatory towards the owner. Now, mind you, this is your brother's boss. So I'm sitting up here like, man, you really don't want to do that. Now, I know you might have your feelings, and it was really inflammatory. But guess what, though? And I went to check because I'm talking to Scotty, and I'm talking to somebody else, and I say, I'm going to send it to you. The post wasn't up anymore. So Dion probably said, hey, man, don't do that. So you got to say to your point, how many people do we have, people that have hundreds of thousands of followers, that have brothers that can post stuff that cause everybody to move like the ocean? So again, for Dillon Gabriel, yeah, he's in a no-win situation. But I'm going to say this, like when anybody, and man, this goes with anything. Hey, man, if you ball, you're going to get the call. So if I'm Dillon Gabriel, again, I'm not worried about Shedeur. I can't. I got to play my game. Because that's the only way you're going to make the team anyway.
You say you now. I understand that's easier said than done, and not because Shedeur is breathing down his neck, it's because of the attention that Shedeur is gonna get, and the only way that he can get some of the heat off of him is if that he completely outplays Shedeur, and that may not get the heat off of him because at this point the fan base of Cleveland. Even if Dillon Gabriel plays great, they're going to say somehow it may be orchestrated or he was set up to succeed because the Cleveland fans are skeptical of the organization. And I don't think it's necessarily the Shedeur situation that has them skeptical. It's the history of their franchise.
Yeah, well, the history says it. But the thing about it is, but here's the thing. Dillon Gabriel don't have to worry about the fans. He got to impress one person. That's the coach. And see, this is the thing about what people have to understand. And I think with social media, we put too much emphasis on the noise. The fans are noise. Social media is noise. Radio stations are noise. ESPN is noise. It doesn't matter because, and this goes for Shedeur, it does not matter what anybody says on that's writing something. The only thing that matters is you on that field producing. Because that is what's going to get you on the team. So for both of those young men, so again, I go back to for Shedeur. I'm not worried about what somebody's posting my stats. I could care less. One thing I'm worried about is when I walk out of practice, did I get better? Did the coach say, you know what? You got better today. That's what you want to hear. You got better today. I saw improvement. So you know what? You go in this game, I want to see improvement. You messed up here in practice. Make sure on the field you don't do that. So he does that. He makes the team. Because all you want to do is be on the team. So once you get on the team, everything is even. Point blank, period.
Now, for Shedeur, do you think the expectations for him are unreasonable for the Cleveland? And I'm going to say not only the Cleveland fans, but also the Colorado aunts and uncles that are all over Cleveland Browns social media. Do you think the expectations are unreasonable for Shedeur?
Well, let me ask you a question. When you say expectation, what are they expecting him to start day one, be an all-pro, throw for 4,000 yards?
I think what they're expecting is for him to prove far and away that he's better than Dillon Gabriel, because that's what they're into it for. They're not into it. The Colorado aunts and uncles are not really invested in how good Cleveland does. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Okay.
What they're interested in is that Shedeur proves that he's better than Dillon Gabriel and that he should have been drafted in the first round. That's their total. That's their point. Okay. And is that expectation unfair for Shedeur?
That expectation is a waste of expectation because it's over. And I will say this again. I'm gonna go Dak Prescott. You know who's the highest paid quarterback? Dak Prescott. He's a 4th round pick. So it does not matter. I think people need to get off of where he was drafted. That's over with. It's done. And all he has to do is be 1% better than Dillon Gabriel. Because that's all he needs. He doesn't need to be 20%, 50%, 100%. He just needs to be 1% better.
But see, BC, I would say I agree with you. And I agree with you for the most part, Steve. But here's what it was going on the first week of camp. When people were complaining about the reps that Shedeur wasn't getting, the corporate media kept saying, hey, guys, lay off. He's a 5th round pick. Hey, guys, lay off. He's a 5th round pick. And you know that's what they were saying. when the fans.
But the point is legitimate. He's the 5th round pick, right? So so now you know what? I actually going to reverse it. You're right. You're putting expectations on him as a 1st rounder. He's a 5th round pick. So whatever happens, like they say, most 5th round picks don't even make a team. So you're putting expectations on. Now, again, I believe Shedeur, and I think we all agree, we believe Shedeur is better than the 5th round pick. But again, it doesn't matter. Now, he's on the team. But on the flip side, no, I'm not going to treat Shedeur like he's Cam Ward. Cam Ward's the 1st pick. So it's different things that come with that. I expect Cam Ward to be different. I expect him to. But Shedeur, once again, where it's lined up, they're probably going to keep 3 quarterbacks. All you got to do is be 1 to 3. That's it. So my thing again, Shedeur has shown once again, and this is what you know what, and I like, he made a quote that I like, and I'm going to see if I can read this quote because I think I saw this. I really just pulled this up because this is one of the quotes that, go ahead. Why you doing
No. This is what I want to say. I agree, but when he starts balling in camp like he has been about the last 10 days, when he starts balling in camp, you can't each and every time bring up why he's not getting equal reps at this point or quality reps that he's a 5th round pick. Because to your point, Steve, there are no picks in camp. Everybody's either trying out the team or make the team. Those are the only 2 things that you get. It's either you're on the opening day roster or you're cut. Those are the only 2 positions that guys are fighting for at this point. And if he's on the opening day roster, then he's made this camp successful. He's done what he's supposed to do. But what happens is people are concerned, and I think rightfully so, they're concerned is he getting enough of an opportunity to make the team, considering they have 2 veteran quarterbacks, somewhat, a 41-year-old man and a guy who's, like you said, who's on his 3rd team. At this point, can we honestly say that Kenny Pickett is a journeyman quarterback? You know, this is his 4th year, but it's, you know, do you get to be a journeyman quarterback in 4 years, 3 different teams? And he has a guy that's a 3rd round pick who the franchise has been very complimentary of, talking about what kind of processor he has and how quick his mind is a computer and all this different stuff. And then you have Shedeur. To be honest with you, Steve, the Browns organization has been very tight-lipped about what they truly think of Shedeur, his work ethic, how he's doing in camp. They've been critical of his speeding, his driving, but they haven't had really much to say about how he's been playing on the field.
All right. Now, you know what? I'm going to throw something at you. So hold on. Let me give me 2 seconds.
Okay. You got time.
I'm gonna hit you with something.
Hey, at this time, man, I like to give everybody an opportunity. We're gonna take a pause right here. Please like the stream. Go ahead and like the stream. If you're not a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe. I know we got a lot of people who've come in because of the Shedeur conversation. If this is the HBCU Coaches Corner, usually hosted by the SWAC legend himself, Johnnie Cole, our co-host. However, he's not with us tonight so far. He may jump in here at any moment. He had a conflict, but I wanted to welcome y'all to HBCU Coaches Corner, and we do this every Tuesday at 8 p.m. until, I guess that would be fair to say, Steve, because we don't have a real quitting time on most Tuesdays. Hey, and just so happened that this next Thursday, that means day after tomorrow, we have a big interview scheduled with the Prairie View head coach, Tremaine Jackson, the Division II runner-up head coach who formerly coached at Valdosta State, was hired by Prairie View, and he's entering his inaugural season with the Prairie View A&M Panthers, and we're going to sit down and have a live conversation with him on Thursday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, 9 o'clock Eastern.
All right. So let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to ask people without Googling it. I'm going to ask you a 2-part question. And you probably know the first one, but I bet you don't know the second. Who was the number 1 pick for the Cleveland Browns?
This year?
Yes, this year.
Graham.
Okay.
Mason Graham.
Who was the 2nd round pick?
Only reason I know Junk is because he got arrested the other day.
Duncan was no, he was not their 2nd pick in the 2nd round.
Oh, 2nd pick in the 2nd round?
Their 2nd pick. Who was their 2nd pick? He was a 2nd rounder though.
I don't know.
Exactly. So exactly. Have you heard anything about Mason Graham, what he's doing in practice? What's the kid's name?
There's no tracker.
From UCLA doing?
Yeah.
You haven't.
No.
And like you say, you're about junkie, because what did he do? When he got in trouble with a girl, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So the 1st round pick ain't nobody said nothing about. We don't know if he's dominating. We don't know if he's killing it. All you hear about. So that's what I'm saying, man. This is why the point, which is unfair to Shedeur anyway. They're putting things on him that they ain't even talking to their 1st round pick about. Now, I'm not saying Graham was not killing it, but you don't even know. Nobody knows. Nobody cares. So this is what the thing about it is, man, let's call a spade a spade. So don't put no additional pressure on this kid that you're not putting on the 1st round pick. How's he playing? How many reps he doing? And I'm going to tell you something. You know what? One of my boys, he watches the show, right? I've got several of my friends that are coaches in the NFL, right? You know, one of my boys called me. He said, Steve, you know what? I watch these shows, man. He says it's hard for me to watch these shows. He said, there's so many people that don't know football. He said, do you realize the ones don't go against the ones in practice? We don't do that till late game situations. In the beginning of practice, it's the ones versus the two, and there's not no 3 and 4s. It's a rotation out of the 2s. He said, you know, the guys that are on the 2nd team, you know who they're going against? They're actually going against the 1s. So I want you to tell people that. So he said, when you guys are doing all this tracking with Shedeur, don't get it twisted. He's probably doing that against the 1s most of the times.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? This is the person that called me that said, I want these people to please be quiet. I'm coaching here. And I ain't going to say where he coaching because y'all might know who he is. So what I'm saying, it's like, he's like, man, tell these people to relax. They don't know how this thing works. It's not the 1s going against the 1s. So again, you play, you produce, you go, you build your next day. So the same thing, like I've said, they got a 1st round pick. Ain't nobody said, is he hurt? Is he not hurt? Is he dominating? Is he running? Nothing hurt anything. But then Shedeur, he's getting tracked every throw, every disc. He's this, all that. Fine. But you know what the thing I like about Shedeur? And this is what I'm saying. I'm going to read this quote because this quote says it all. He said, they asked him about, this process. And he said, listen, it does not faze me. You got to understand, we came all the way from an HBCU to a Power 5, and now we're here. At this point, you look around, that's a challenge. Nothing phases me. That lets you know, man, when you start from an HBCU, hey, man, listen, you didn't have it. He was at Jackson State. He produced. They say he wasn't going to do that at Colorado, right? Some people said that. At Colorado, he produced. Now people saying he's not going to do it at the Browns. He can go 3 for 3.
Yeah, you're right, man. You're right. Hey, we got our phone lines open for those of you all who want to call and have this conversation. Again, we're going to continue this conversation. What I want to do at this time, I've pasted the link in the off script and on Facebook. I'm going to end the Facebook Live, and I'm going to end the live on off script. However, we will continue over on the Rocky Miller channel, the channel that hosts the HBCU Coaches Corner. So I'm going to give you guys time to switch over. Go ahead and switch over. I'm not going to just cut you off. And then when you start switching over, go ahead and click 1, hit 1 so that I know you have switched over as myself and the bishop continue the conversation about Shedeur. Again, I'm really the most surprising thing that has developed, though, Steve, is that Shedeur was named the starter today for the first preseason game. And I think you said all along, Steve, no matter what happens in practice, whether he makes the team or whether he ends up being a starting quarterback, none of it was going to be decided based on what happens in practice. He was going to have to do it under the lights in front of everybody. And surprisingly, he has an opportunity to do it. right now?
I told you guys, and I'll go back and find it. I told you guys who was going to start that preseason first. I told you guys, did I not? I told you. I said, I bet you money that Shedeur is going to start the first game. Now, I don't know what's going to happen in game 2 and 3, but I said that first preseason game, they're going to start. And they are. And this is what they've done. So, again, big spotlight. And this is the great thing about it. The Panthers are going to play their guys that they need to make the team. So he's not going to be playing, as they say, the guys that's going to be FedEx drivers. He's going to be playing against guys that have to make the team. So he's going to, quote unquote, be playing against the ones or guys that they need. You know, of course, they're not going to have some of their high-end starters playing. But again, guys that's going to out there try to make a play. You got to, because you got to understand something. If I'm a defensive back, hey, man, I'm trying to go get one of those.
Steve, let me ask you this. Is this a business decision or a football decision?
It's both. It's business first, though. I always felt that was going to be they were going to start for the business part. I always believe that. But the football part, I think again, and I think Stefanski, Kevin Stefanski, I'm going to give him a lot of credit. I think, man, as they say, he slides a fox. I think he's been playing people wide all the time. And I think he has seen what Shedeur is doing. And he just kind of say, you know what? Because again, if he moves Shedeur up too fast, I think that'd be actually too much pressure on Shedeur. That he's named the number 2 already. No, let's keep him at the 4. Because again, it doesn't matter who's 1, 2, 3, 4 right now. It doesn't. So you know what he does? He lets him go. And you know what? Play it at his progress. He doesn't have to worry about the pressure. He's got to be the one. He's got to start all that. Now all of a sudden, let's start him in the game. Let's start him in this game. Now, of course, guys are hurt, things like that. I heard all that too. But I don't care. If Kenny Pickett, I still say if Kenny Pickett was healthy, Shedeur would have started that game. But of course, it's gonna be for Ray. Because you know what, too? And I'm not mad at them too. Because guess what? We all gonna be watching.
Now, one thing that a guy in the Cleveland media always said, and hey, I want to thank you all you guys that switched over. I'm about to end the live on Off Script channel. Go ahead and make sure you guys switch over on the Rocky